Hi, I'm Elizabeth,
And I'm Cindy.
and we're here today with another Feeding Frenzy for the Abundance Book by John Randolph Price. And today is day 4
of the
40-day prosperity plan.
Throw that in there.
All right, so he says on day 4, the statement is, through my consciousness of my God self, the Christ within, as my source, I draw into my mind and feeling nature the very substance of spirit. This substance is my supply, and thus my consciousness of the presence of God within me is my supply. Good statement today.
Long one, but
Okay, talk to me. What does it mean? God, self, Christ, and Christ within.
I believe that God is on the inside of me and you and everybody else, and that they're what some people call super consciousness. You know, you have your subconsciousness, which is how we respond without thinking about it. And I think there's the super consciousness, which is the God part of us, when we've all been in that flow where we don't feel like it's us doing something. You know, I've heard basketball players and all kinds of sports people talk about being in that flow where they just act without thinking.
Almost like you're on autopilot.
Yeah, it's just the God part of you. I've done it when leading classes and, you know, even singing or whatever, when you just doesn't feel like it's me. It feels like writing, and, you know, it's just that God part of you that takes over, so to speak, and works through you. So I believe we all have that God self or the Christ self. It's the Christ part of me, the part that's connected, directly connected to God. It's like the waves in the ocean that we've talked about. You know, the wave is the ocean and the ocean is the wave, but each wave is an individual part of the ocean, and I feel like we are each individual parts of God. And so when I'm in that flow, and that God part of me, that part of the wave that is the ocean, shines through, we each have that potential. If we could peel away everything else, we would have that potential all the time. Wouldn't that be
We have the potential of the entire ocean all the time. Right? As long as we know that we carry the potential of the entire ocean all the time. So the purpose of this is to get into the thought patterns of, I'm the entire ocean all the time. Right. So that you open up a world of possibilities. Right? So in thinking along the same lines of the ocean, if we will think along the same lines, then listen to the sentence again. It may bring up a new thought. Through my consciousness. So we're going to say through the consciousness of the ocean, not just my individual self or the individual wave.
So the collective consciousness.
Right. Through my consciousness of my God self, the Christ within, as my source, I draw into my mind and feeling nature the very substance of spirit.
That really changes it for me.
It changes it, doesn't it? When we think of it as the entire ocean.
I think of myself as a wave on that ocean.
When you think of yourself as just the wave, well, if you quit thinking as just the wave for just a moment, then in that moment you draw into yourself
The ocean.
the whole ocean. So that's what it's saying here. That once I get into that consciousness of my God self,
The bigger me.
the bigger me, then I bring in all of God into that one moment.
The Bible says nothing is impossible with God.
That's right.
So that
With
God
God, all
part
things are possible.
Yeah. So that God part of me, God part of me can do anything.
Exactly.
And we each have that God part.
This substance is my supply. Believe that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, the ocean is all there is, you know.
If I'm bringing in all of God, and God is everywhere,
there's no limit.
then obviously, yes,
All things are
it's my supply, yes. Thus, my consciousness of the presence of God within me, and this one is italicized, is my supply.
True. You know, if you know that, okay, God is in me, and nothing is impossible with God, then that's my supply, because I am everything.
So how can just the very thought that God is my supply be the supply?
Because knowing that it's all mine, if I know that, and I know that on a gut level, at the subconscious level, if I go through the process of awareness and understanding and knowing, so it becomes a part of me, then I'll act differently. And I'll know that, okay, I don't have to worry about where the money's coming from because it's all mine anyway. You know, and just changing my thought process around getting rid of the fear, which I think is the whole key.
It is.
All of it after studying this stuff. The real key is if we could just get rid of the freaking fear to where we're just our true selves. Quit worrying about what everybody thinks. Quit worrying about where the money's going to come from. Quit worrying about how I'm going to pay the bills. Quit worrying about who's going to think what.
Then there's nothing that you can't do.
Left. Yeah, then there's no limits to what we could all do. If we just quit judging each other and quit caring what the other person's doing or thinking, or if we could just get rid of all that baggage and all that fear. And it's all fear.
It is. Fear. You and I proved that the day we walked fire.
Yeah, more than once. But also, I'm reminded where the Bible says that perfect love casts out fear. Well, to me, that tells me that the opposite of love is fear, and the opposite of fear is love. And so, all the good stuff in the world is love, and all the bad stuff is fear, which is just an absence of the love. So if we could get rid of that fear, then all that would be left is the real truth.
Is love. Is the pure substance. It's God.
Yeah. That's the substance. Wow. We just all love each other. Everything be okay.
It would be, wouldn't it?
Which is what Jesus said all along.
Well, it is.
Love
how many times
another.
did he say? No, seriously, how many times did he say, fear not?
That's what he said more than anything else in the Bible, that I think, from my studies. It was said more than anything else he said.
Fear not.
Fear not. Don't be afraid. Don't worry about it. And that's all. Worry is fear. But it's hard.
But worry is another form of meditation.
Yes. Just meditating on the wrong thing.
Meditating on fear.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Worry is literally meditating on fear. So if we're
how do you get rid
meditating
of fear?
on fear.
How do you get rid of fear?
Well, the only way I know to get rid of fear is to know the truth behind it.
Which is?
It's love. You know, truly. Anytime I'm worried about something, if I can find the source of the fear behind it, it's usually a fear of lack or of shame or guilt or some blame or something of that nature. And if I can get to what's under it, then I can dissipate it. Because then I can take care of what's underneath it. And once you pull that out,
do you have to
then
do
the
that?
fear can't stand.
Can't you just pour enough love on it to get rid of it?
Well, you can, but it's going to come up. It's going to come up again.
I think.
Yeah, in
So
some
you have
form
to
or another.
not only find it, you have to get rid of it.
Yeah, you do. You've got to address it. Anything that we don't address comes back later.
What
We're
I
in
hear
different
you
clubs.
saying is that to get rid of fear, you have to move through it.
You do. You do. The only way to do it is to go through it or grow.
So
through
just,
it.
I don't like this because what I'm hearing you say is if I want to get rid of my fear of snakes, which I'm not saying I want to get rid of it because I don't want to have to move through it. I don't want to have to face a snake to get through that fear.
Well, I'm not saying you necessarily have to. I'm just saying you need to find out the basis of that fear.
Oh.
And get rid of the basis of the fear.
Well, that makes sense. Okay,
Then that fear, which is the shallow, which is the top layer of the onion. You know, based around every fear is an onion. It's a layer that we've piled on across it, you know, or around it that says, I don't want to look at this, so I'm going to put this over it, and then I'm going to put this over it, and then I'm going to put this. Okay, well, snake is at the top of that.
Are you saying something else?
I'm saying there's probably something else under that. If you peel it back, there's something under that. If you get to the core, if you get to the core and take care of the core, then all the rest of the layers take care of themselves.
Ew.
So what I'm saying is you just need to look at what is the basis of that fear.
I don't want to get bit. That would hurt. Pain.
There are lots of things that can bite and would cause pain if they bit, but you allow them in. So what I'm saying is that probably isn't the core. That's all I'm saying.
So I'm always blaming it on my sister throwing them on me when we were little.
Okay, well there may be something there.
What would be underneath that?
But if it was a brick, you'd be afraid of bricks too. Well, seriously.
Yeah.
You would avoid places where brick may fall on you, or do you see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I'm saying the snake is just the top of that onion. It's not necessarily the core of it. I'm just suggesting we look at that.
So tell us about yours. So you can
I think that's good enough for today. Thank you.
You would. It's not fair.
I got rid of mine a long time ago.
Some of them.
Well, the one dealing with the snake,
Oh,
anyway.
okay.
But it was the top. It was literally the top.
Okay.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
You have to think about that.
Yeah.
Let us know how it goes.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to think about that or I have nightmares.
Good stuff. Shrink.
Sure.